On trains, people often gathered around Abdu'l-Baha to discover who he was and listen to his discourse. Once, when someone asked about the purpose of his trip, he said,
"I have come to America to raise the standard of universal peace and the unity of mankind. My aim is to create love and harmony among the religions."
They arrived in Denver on September 24th, and Abdu'l-Baha went to rest at the Shirley Hotel before his first talk at the home of Eudora Roberts, where a large crowd gathered. Nona L. Brooks, the pastor of the Church of Divine Science, invited him to speak at her church the next day. He also went to the home of Josephine Hall Clark, a widow who had lost one child and was raising her young son on her own. After becoming a Baha'i around 1896, she had longed for Abdu'l-Baha to come to her modest home.
I had frequently dreamt that my home would become honored with the footsteps of the beloved master.
A schoolteacher, Josephine had rushed off that morning without doing her dishes, intending to wash them before she met Abdu'l-Baha's afternoon train. Detained at school, she found him on her front porch. She invited him in, worrying about the dishes. She motioned for him to sit, but instead he walked toward the kitchen saying Abdu'l-Baha would like a drink of water. He helped himself at the water pump and, returning, laughed as if to tell her she could hide nothing from him. He spoke and answered questions, then blessed the house. Today, the Clark House is designated an historic Baha'i property. Next morning, a rush of visitors came. Professors, clergymen, and philosophers. Newspapers published his picture and articles about his talks. At the Church of Divine Science that evening, Pastor Brooks came through the crowd to lead him to the pulpit. Afterwards, many people surrounded him and shook his hand. To one who visited him at the hotel, he extended an invitation.
"I have come to your city and found tall buildings and advancement in material civilization. Now I will lead you to my own city. Its administration is the oneness of humanity. Its law is international peace. That is our city, and the founder is Baha'u'llah."
Of this visit to Denver, during which he spoke at least 5 times to perhaps 1,000 people, with at least 8 local newspaper articles appearing, reporter Frances Wayne in the Denver Post wrote,
"Certainly Denver has not in the past been honored by the presence of a godlier man than this simple-hearted Persian whose only weapon is the word."
Abdu'l-Baha's last day in Denver included private meetings, a walk around downtown, and a talk at the Shirley Hotel. On September 26th, he left for Salt Lake City and San Francisco. As the Rockies were too high to pass, the train went south to Pueblo, through the Royal Gorge, then to Leadville, then westward along the Colorado River. At Glenwood Springs, they got off. And he rested at the Hotel Colorado, a famous resort with adjacent hot springs. There they bathed in the natural springs at the Yampa Vapor Caves, which relieved Abdu'l-Baha of his fatigue. He said,
"We have been to many lovely places during this journey, but because of our work we had no time to look at the scenery. Today, however, we have had a little respite."
They also enjoyed strolling in the hotel garden with its lovely fish pond. Abdu'l-Baha indicated to his companions that he would like to have lunch outside. The manager, without being asked, ordered the waiters to set up tables and serve lunch to them in the garden. Guests approached who recognized him from Denver newspapers. Others watched from their rooms and balconies. When he boarded the train at midnight, he felt much better because of the respite.